Although the author and publisher have made every effort to ensure the information in this document are correct from our viewpoints, there is some work of fiction, though, to entertain the viewer's mind. Names, character, business, place, events, location, and indicates mentioned it in the documentary are real. However, they're sometimes used as a fictional manner. Any resemblance to sarcasm made in the video is just a prank. So please avoid crying, hating, overthinking, judging, and battering. Is that how you say that word? While watching this video, enjoy. I want every word to be put in there.
That was beautiful.
Vietnam, a nation in Southeast Asia on the eastern edge of the Indo-Chinese peninsula, has been under French colonial rule since the 19th century. To fight off both Japanese occupiers and the French colonial administration, political leader Ho Chi Minh, inspired by Chinese and Soviet communism, formed the Viet Minh. Following its defeat in World War II, Japan withdrew its force from Vietnam. Ho Viet Minh forces immediately rose up, taking over the northern city of Hanoi, and declared a Democratic Republic of Vietnam, with Ho Chi Minh as president, and that was the beginning of America's idea of containment. What was the main reason for U.S.'s involvement in the Vietnam War?
When communist leader Ho Chi Minh emerged as the leader of northern Vietnam, we realized we could not let that happen. Communists are just horrible people. At first, we just wanted a better leader. Clearly, a communist leader like Ho Chi Minh is not qualified. So we got one that proved to be a better leader at first, in Diem. That is, until he started talking crap about the Buddhist religion. We all know in America's amendments, there is freedom of religion.
Were some of United States' action done in order to stop the USSR from having power over other countries?
Not necessarily, because we knew by the spring of 1967, a river of aid was flowing from Russia into northern Vietnam. By the late 1960s, more than three-quarters of the military and technical equipment received by northern Vietnam was coming from Moscow. In fact, Moscow contributed weapons essentially to northern Vietnamese defense capabilities against us. Without this material, Vietnamese air defense would have been hardly feasible. Right from the start, we understood that the USSR would support Vietnam and would not let the US, and we could not let. Right from the start, we understood that the USSR would support Vietnam, and we could not let the USSR win. So we used all of our resources to stop this domino effect of communism.
What did victory with honor mean to the United States at the time of the war?
Richard Nixon was determined that Vietnam would not ruin his presidency, as had been the case with Lyndon B. Johnson. The Nixon plan was to de-Americanize the war, an approach that became known as Vietnamization. Vietnamization, along with negotiation, were Nixon's twin pillars for achieving an honorable peace. When Nixon took office in January 1969, the United States had been involved in combat operations in Vietnam for nearly 4 years. U.S. military forces totaled 536,040, the bulk of which were ground combat troops, and more than 30,000 Americans had lost their lives up till then. The war cost $30 billion in a fiscal year in 1969. In 1968 alone, more than 15,000 U.S. troops were killed.
Did U.S. make a mistake by intervening in the Vietnam War?
In Vietnam, we were essentially trying to use a strategy that had worked in Korea. We would fight the northern communists back to a 38th parallel equivalent to protect southern Vietnam. But this was impossible in southern Vietnam because southern Vietnam wasn't bordered by any bodies of water. It had Laos and Cambodia to the west, and the North Vietnamese could swing around any line we might try to establish and attack the south, as they did. We were obsessed by this theory of a barrier, that it was suggested we nuke a stretch of land 50 miles wide between northern and southern Vietnam. So what happened was we failed to neutralize the real source of the war, northern Vietnam, and instead fought a losing war of containment and attrition.